Hello, sports fans, and welcome to the Scott Sports 101 Browns preseason Game 2 recap show. We'll recap this past weekend's Browns game. We'll talk about what I think is going to happen in training camp this week and what's been going on, and talk about the preseason finale against the Seahawks, which Deshaun Watson is scheduled to play, and give my opinions of what we think is going to happen as we make our way to Week 1 of the NFL season, which is coming up pretty quick, and on Sunday, September 8th, when they play Dallas. And that will be my season premiere of Scott Sports 101 to begin my 9th year of Scott Sports 101. So look forward to that. I'm looking forward to it. Just stay tuned for it on Sunday, September 8th. Now here is today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. It's it's a Major League Baseball trivia question. I'll get an NFL one in for this weekend's game, but here it is. Which player currently holds the most Grand Slams hit in Major League Baseball history? I will have the answer later in the podcast. Well, is a devastating development for one of Minnesota's quarterbacks created an opportunity for another. Nick Mullins wants to make the most of it. Mullins threw a touchdown pass on the heels of the Vikings quarterback rotation getting jumbled this week by J.J. McCarthy's season-ending injury, and Minnesota beat the Cleveland Browns 27-12 in a preseason game Saturday. Mullins connected with wide receiver Tristan Jackson on a 14-yard touchdown in the first quarter for the Vikings 2-0 to take a 2-0 for the Vikings 2-0 lead. While he completed just 11 of 21 passes for 135 yards, the most important statistic for Mullins was he didn't commit any turnovers, a problem for him during 3 starts late last season while filling in for former Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins, who's now the Atlanta Falcons. I protect the football. I feel like I'm really good, like I'm a really good quarterback in this league, Mullins said. So anytime you can go out and not have any turnovers, it's big. Minnesota's third-string quarterback, Jaron Hall, had 2 second-half scoring passes. The second on a 71-yarder to Jason Jones. Rookie Will Reinchard kicked field goals from 41 and 38 yards. Deonta Foreman had a 1-yard touchdown, and Cade York kicked a 3-yard field goal for the Browns, who are now 0-2 in the preseason. Hopefully, he can salvage this last game and win it and be 1-2, but they don't bet anything right now. So Minnesota's coach Kevin O'Connell and Cleveland's Kevin Stefanski chose to sit their starters as well as most backups, feeling they had gotten adequate work when the teams practiced twice this week. Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson spent his second straight game on the sideline. He's scheduled to play this week against Seattle. His first action since a season-ending shoulder injury in November. Number 2, Jameis Winston, also sat out. It's been quite a week for Minnesota's QBs. On Tuesday, McCarthy, the club's highly touted rookie, was lost for the season after undergoing right knee surgery. The first-round pick from Michigan suffered torn meniscus during a solid pro debut last week that not only put him on the mix to push starter Sam Donald, but affirmed the teams believe he is the franchise QB going forward. McCarthy's injury sealed Darnold as the starter as at least this season and elevated Mullins into a backup role. It's a familiar spot for Mullins, who put up big passing stats in 3 starts last season, but also threw 8 interceptions early against the Browns. Mullins twice threw the ball away rather than forcing throws. Exactly what O'Connell hoped. Coming off his last year, that was a big kind of moving forward point for Nick O'Connell. O'Connell said, and at this point in his career, that's what I'm looking for, to go along with the expectation that he is going to run the show and be a field general like he always is. Hall, who was expected to be Minnesota's number 3 quarterback, went 4-5 and finished with a perfect 158.3 passer rating. Days like this you cherish forever, said Hall. A 5th-round pick in 2023. It's a game I'll always remember, preseason or not. Mullins led Minnesota to a touchdown on his first possession, capping an 8-yard play. 75 opening drive with a nice throw to Jackson, who got both feet down along the left side of the end zone. Dorian Thompson-Robinson started at QB for the Browns and went 13 of 17 for 126 yards. Thompson-Robinson, who was competing with Tyler Huntley for the number 3 job, threw an interception late in the first half. It was definitely a bad ball, Thompson-Robinson said. I was more so guessing on the throw than anything. Huntley played the second half and went 14 of 20 for 135 yards and 2 picks. And the long Minnesota rookie cornerback Dwight McLaughlin returned an interception 90 yards in the third quarter. McLaughlin snagged an overthrow by Huntley and worked his way down the sideline before being caught by Cleveland's QB. Hall plays. Browns rookie defensive tackle Mike Hall Jr. played despite being arrested and injured earlier in the week. On Tuesday, the second-round pick from Ohio State was charged with domestic violence following an argument with his fiancée, who alleged he threatened her by putting a gun to her head. Hall, who hurt his neck Wednesday and pleaded not guilty in court, was released on $10,000 bond. He is trying to say this is the continuation of he could face discipline from the NFL for violating its personal conduct policy, pending an investigation. And guess what? We lost. And for the Vikings, there's nothing available. Browns, nothing notable, excuse me. Browns left tackle James Houston has a left ankle injury, left the stadium in a walking boot. His injury complicates things while the team waits for starters Jedrick Wills Jr. and Jack Conklin to return from season-ending knee injuries. And it was a tough day for Cleveland's offensive tackles. Sherman Raffetti had a hand injury, and Hakeem Adenji had a knee injury and also got hurt. Next up, the Vikings visit Philadelphia, their final preseason game, and the Browns will take on the Seattle Seahawks on August 24th. And so it was not a good day for the Browns, but they did make some, at least score 1 touchdown and had a field goal. So we'll see what happens with this weekend's preseason game. Right now, it's time to reveal the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. It's an MLB trivia question. Which player currently holds the most Grand Slams hit in Major League Baseball history? And if you said Alex Rodriguez, you are correct. Alex Rodriguez holds the most Grand Slams hit in Major League Baseball history with 25 in 22 seasons. I will have another trivia question on my next podcast, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to give you the other scores from the other preseason games. We had one last Thursday. Philadelphia beat the New England Patriots. The Eagles did 14-13. That was in New England. Baltimore beat Atlanta 13-12 in Baltimore. Houston beat the Giants 28-10. The Bears all over the Bengals 27-3. Detroit by 1 over Kansas City 24-23. Buffalo 9-3 over Pittsburgh. The Indianapolis Colts over the Arizona Cardinals. They beat them 21-13. Miami beat Washington 13-6. Tennessee beat Seattle, who the Browns take on this week 16-15 by 1. New Orleans beat Carolina 15-12. Los Angeles, the Rams beat the Los Angeles Chargers 13-9. Jacksonville Jaguars beat Tampa Bay 20-7. Dallas beat the Las Vegas Raiders 27-12. And this past Sunday, Denver all over Green Bay 27-2. Oh, just not a good day for the Packers. And San Francisco beat New Orleans 16-10. So, boy, just an interesting week of preseason football. So, and I just wanted to just let you know that. Just recap them for you. And and the Browns are working on and preparing for this week's game against the Seattle Seahawks. And there was pure electricity in the room. I was watching this speech alongside Jennifer Jones here, a delegate from the state of Massachusetts. The Browns have added another tackle, another offensive tackle, as among 4 roster moves. Fresh out of reserve offensive tackles, the Cleveland Browns have added one on Monday ahead of their preseason finale game against the Seattle Seahawks. Among the moves, offensive tackle, as heard me mention, Hakeem Adenja and Matt Landers were put on the move. Those were just 2 of the moves the Browns made. However, adding 2 players to the roster as well, the Stars will likely see a quarter of playing time against the Seahawks. So they will need bodies to get through their final preseason game. This comes after 3 offensive tackles left their preseason game against the Minnesota Vikings. And left tackle Jedrick Wills and right tackle Jack Conklin have yet to return to the practice field, though the thought and hope is that both players will be back by week 1 when the Dallas Cowboys come to town. But the depth behind them is now paper thin, and coming off a year where James Hudson III and Jaron Christian were forced to start a playoff game, this is less than ideal. And they signed, this is another one of the roster moves for all 4. Offensive tackle Chim Okoraffer, and it was he's got put back in 23 against the Missouri. A general view of the Browns helmet during the second half of the Kansas City Chiefs at GEHA Field and at Arrowhead Stadium. Mandatory credit Denny Medley. And Hakeem Adenja got placed on injured reserve, as I mentioned. And linebacker Brendan, they signed linebacker Brendan Boyer Randall, and he was out of East Hartford, Connecticut, and a Boston College quarterback, and under pressure with the Huskies, and Richard Field Whitney, and he's really put up some big numbers. And they waived Matt Landers, and I did not know that, but now I do know. And So we will see what happens and this week in training camp as the Browns will get ready for their preseason finale against the Seattle Seahawks. So uh, the Guardians are off today, but they'll be in New York to take on the Yankees tomorrow. Aaron George and the Yankees, and they will be in Yankee Stadium tomorrow to take on the Yankees. First pitch 7:05 on Valley Sports Ohio. So we will see what happens. And so we will see what happens this week in training camp. And well, that's just about gonna wrap it up for this edition of Scott's Sports 101, the Browns preseason recap show. And I'll be back with another podcast later this week or this weekend. But until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.